Today I am reading the last diary entries from Princess Eugenie before she went to meet the Lord, and an epilogue from her spiritual director. It's not the last video. There are more things in here about purgatory that you'll want to hear about. But I'd love to know what you've thought about this series, what you've thought about her diary, what you've thought about the poor souls, how things have changed for you from before you heard about these visits. As always, if you enjoy what you're hearing, remember to like, subscribe, and share. That is really the way that these messages of heaven get out. And as always, I am humbled by those of you that have contributed to me. It just means the world to me. And am always open if any of you likes my work and would like to help me continue my ministry. Click in the link below. Johannes, November of 1927. Since August, I have experienced 4 things, actually different types of apparitions, and I have the definite feeling that I could give them little. There were 27 phantoms in all, 11 of them bad. It's been different again for 8 days. A good acquaintance, F, ... H, ... the father of ... comes to me and always wants to touch me. Holy water makes him a little calmer. He's difficult, and yet I'm happy. His appearance is like a blinding lantern aimed at me. As time goes on, it gets darker around him. During the day, I see him sitting in a tree across from my window, half animal, half man. After a few days, he threw himself on me with a scream. I said, "Johannes, what do you want?" He said, "Your peace." I said, "Go to your wife who prays so much." He said, "I can't find her." I said, "She's very sorry about, maybe it would be better if you went to her." He said, "I'm not allowed to leave the path." I said, "Do you know everything about your ... He said, "No, human worries are far away." I asked, "How can I help you?" He said, "Let me stay with you as long as I can. Don't talk anymore." Now it seemed to me as if my speeches had made him sad. I was very sorry. He's there a lot now, but I don't talk anymore. He is very restless. Another woman comes, and then there is a lot of noise in the room. In the church, I saw 7 figures waiting for me right at the entrance. November 7th, in the evening, half dark, I go for a walk in the avenue when 2 women come towards me. I do not know them. I want to talk to them. Gone. I was really terrified and went home quickly. Actually, the more natural the phenomena are, the more frightening one gets. I've experienced this more often than not. I get home to find an old woman at my desk sitting with her head supported. I asked, "What are you doing there?" She said, "I'm looking." I said, "What are you looking for?" She said, "My promise." I unlocked the door to her to please her. At the moment she was messing everything up, she stared at the things with glowing eyes. I've never seen a search like this before. She also had my letters in her hand. Finally, she moaned, "Lost," and was gone. I have no idea who that could be. According to the way she dressed, she was of the present time. Now, there's an asterisk here. It said that these were the letters that Pastor Weezer had written to the princess. So this poor soul was looking through his letters. November 8th. Johannes was there almost the whole night. I said, "You look happier." He said, "I advanced." I said, "Where to?" He said, "In knowledge." I said, "Also in penance?" He said, "No, that's over. The knowledge of the light." I said, "Tell me more about the light. Is that God?" He said, "Understanding belongs only to the bodiless." November 11th. The searching woman was again in the room today. I asked, "Can't I help you?" Then she looked at me and cried. The other day she was standing in front of my desk, and now comes the inexplicable. The locked drawers were open. Then I really got the creeps. No delusion. She stood there smiling, came towards me and put her head on my shoulder, and she was gone. In the drawers, everything was as usual. Something new is that I wake up with an uncomfortable feeling, and then I see the whole wall full of heads. That's very spooky. They stare at me with various painful expressions. November 27th. Johannes is much clearer and happier with me. I prayed with him. I asked, "What else can I do for you?" He said, "Sacrifice your will." I said, "I'd like to, but it's always so difficult." He said, "The power will be given to you." I said, "Why don't you go to your wife?" He said, "I will be shown the way." I said, "Tell me more about eternity." He said, "Believe and trust." And then he was gone. December 4th, 1927. I didn't see him anymore. Neither did I see the woman. Only otherwise a lot of noise and figures during the day. January 11th, 1928. I sent W to my room to get a book. He ran back and said, "There is a beggar in there." I went straight over and there was a man who really looked like a beggar, very sad. I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Out of the tribulation." "Well, who are you?" "Joseph H." And in parentheses, it says, "Years ago, a family H lived here. I don't know whether he was the one called Joseph." I said, "What can I do for you?" He said, "Pray for me." I said, "When did you die?" He said, 1874. "Why did you have to suffer for so long?" He said, "Slander." "Can I fix something?" "Yes, the dot of DM." I said, "What is it?" Then someone came and he was gone. Now I vaguely remember that they told a story about a priest, DM, and always sent me away when they spoke of it. And in asterisks, it was in fact a priest. The last diary entrance here. December 17th. It seems very peculiar to me that I should be your mediator with the hereafter. Think about it. The woman who came to me for almost 3 weeks and who answered, "His mother," is your mother. And then it says, a two-way conversation follows, which I will not reproduce here for personal reasons. This is now written by Pastor Sebastian Wieser, her spiritual director. The two-way conversation follows, which I will not reproduce here for personal reasons. Unfortunately, I couldn't find out more about it than that my mother was saved. Please note that the princess never knew my mother when she was alive. The message of December 17th was the last I was allowed to receive. She herself, who has made so many sacrifices to the poor souls in the last decade of her life, now dwells in the contemplation of God, as I certainly believe. As noted elsewhere, she died on January 9th, 1929. Pastor Sebastian Wieser. This book has changed me. It has changed what I say and what I do. It has changed how I pray. When I go to Mass, I am very specific about the poor souls in ways that I wasn't before. I don't know if my reading has been good and maybe my poor quality video, basically produced. My reading has done anything. But I know that I have been called to translate these words from this book to this video. so that you may watch, so that you may learn, so that you may grow. If God called you to watch this, what is he asking of you? Is there a poor soul in your life that you have neglected to pray for? What about your parents? Have you assumed they are in heaven? For those of you that have anger towards someone, have you prayed for their soul? Have you forgiven them? Have you asked the Lord to help you love that person in a sacrificial way? As we've read so many times, the poor souls constantly said, trust, sacrifice your will. I'm asking the Lord for the grace to learn how to sacrifice my will. Boy, is it hard. It was hard for her who was so close to God. It's nearly impossible, it seems, for someone like me. But I'm going to keep trying because I do trust and I do have faith. And I do know that God will use me in whatever way he can. And I just ask that he strips my will from me so that I can accept whatever it is he asks of me. I'm prayerfully asking you to do the same. Now, I will do another video after this with the epilogue and other things about purgatory, but that was her last diary entrance. And even though we pretty much assume she's already in heaven, say it, prayer for the poor soul of Princess Eugenie. And if she's already in heaven, that prayer will not be wasted. Perhaps ask the Lord to lay it upon one of her family members instead. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching this Bacon Bit. And as always, remember to live your life sunny side up.